YOLO and hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Daily Candle Close News. And I know we've seen a rough start to the new year for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. However, in my last video, as well as my previous past few posts in the Pioneer group chat, I gave you all some fundamentals as well as some technical analysis that was combined with some very important date connections that we were approaching January 8th or January 5th through January 8th today, all of which was also tying us back to the start of the pandemic and the bear flu crash that we saw in March 2020, being 666 days in between all of that. So very important connections. And in my last video, I shared that, and I wanted to touch base on that tonight. I was able to show you why I was able to prepare for the volatility to the downside at around $42,000 to $44,000 Bitcoin, as well as 77-cent XRP. Today we're setting, a little bit lower than that, and that's okay. We'll touch base on that as well, and the importance of everything we are seeing, and why I don't think we are out of the muddy waters just yet. And with all that being said, we'll go ahead and transition the screen for you all tonight and get started. Let's get ready to dive into the matrix and take the red pill, shall we? The big connection that I shared in my last video about January 5th being connected to March 10th, the last day of normality in 2020 for everyone, before our lives changed forever. Being a 666-day connection. Very important. And this date right here, 1-5, giving us the 15, that 1-5 coming back to, our latest variant, the number of the new variant, the 15th letter of the Greek alphabet. And I've been sharing this time and time again. Regardless of any new variants that come out, I do believe this will be the main one, the little O, until we get to eventually our big O, the Omega, which by 2022 or 2023 they'll say it'll mutate to the brain. Because again, we've read the playbook going back to mid 2020 when we've exposed all of this. But very important connections with that 1-5 date, with that 15, just very important connections that we've been sharing. One of which that I wanted to share about today, that we were talking about 1-5, this small O connection in the variant we won't name. But this was a day that left 360 days left in the year this year. Again, giving us a complete circle. We know a circle is broken down into 360 equal degrees. So very important. On the 5th of January 2022, again having 666 days connecting back to our last day of normality, which was the transition date to the World Health Organization declaring the bear flu pandemic, which transitioned to a 666 connection into the next day following. So very important again. We know when it's March 10th in the United States, it's March 11th in other places in the world, and I believe everything has everything to do with time zone and how we perceive date numerology, and so we need to pay attention to the dates before and the dates after, etc. As well, think of it as a trinity when decoding and looking at your dates. So this is why we're making a 3-day connection here as well, between the 5th and the 8th. So again, just very powerful connections we've made here. So again, the 666 connection absolutely showing us signs of bearishness in the markets lately, and I think that's very important that we make these connections. One other connection to this next day that we transitioned out of, real fast, let me slow down, I'm sorry. But What was it at? Boom. We know this 1/5 date was the date we received our newest news around our latest variant. The B.1.640.2 that we shared in our first video of the new year. I think that we need to make that important connection before we move on to this next date, being the 1/6, that 1/5 date, giving us the 15. We know our previous, the latest variant, was the 15th letter in the Greek alphabet. And of course, we shared in our previous decode that we exposed at the beginning of the year. This B.1.640.2 gives us that same 15. So again, very important connections that we can continue to make here. And if you haven't watched that video, which I know some of you pioneers in the group chat are slacking, and I'm very disappointed in some of you. I don't know who, but I can tell that some of you haven't been watching them, and you need to stay up to date. But very important connections right here, giving us that 1/5 again. So again, transitioning into this next date, 1/6, absolutely significant because we remember this date 311 being 3 times 11, giving us the 33 plus 22, dropping the zeros, being a date that we got 55 in numerology, tying us straight back into God, Satan, Satoshi Nakamoto, the timekeeper, predestination. Very important number that we go over on this channel, and we exposed that in our previous video, so go back and watch it. We're really starting to learn the truth of this number 33 through all our decodes in the past, being a very important transmutation number that we talk about as well. So important connections here. But I really wanted to share about this date right here, being the following day, was this 49, and teach you about the importance of this 49 in Judaism really quick, just so we can all learn together. It's very massive in Judaism, and the cult who runs the financial system with the help of the Society of Jesus and the Jesuit order. But this 49 is massive because it is the square root of 7, being 7 times 7. Okay, so giving us that same 49. So Judaism giving us both of those. So very important. Has everything to do with, we know the 7s have everything to do with the Shemitah and the sabbatical year cycle, the release year in Judaism and in Hebrew. So again, these 7s being very important as we just exited the year of 7s, 2021. So again, we know 7 times 7 is 49, and I think it's even more powerful when we see that 77 even gives us that same 49 in full reduction when we type it out. So very powerful. That 77 tying us in with that 53 we get to, something we talked about in the Mark of the Beast decode, and something we've been touching base on with metaverse and transhumanism, virtual realm, the Mark of the Beast, all giving us that 53-35 connection, tying us all the way back into Satan, you guys. So again, that 53-35 connection, very, very powerful. Every time we see that, we need to pay attention right here. But again, going back to Judaism and that 77, when we spell out numbers, it's amazing that we see it, ties us back in here. But a side note, and the point is that in Judaism, we know that 77 is there, which is 49, but that is the 7th Shemitah. The 7th Shemitah year is the year we are in right now. So after the 7th Shemitah year, we get a Jubilee year, and which is what we are entering. And I think that's very important to bring that connection up. So again, and that's tying us in here with that 23 in Chaldean that we get in Jubilee year. Tying us back to that 23 we got in Judaism again. And that ties us back into what we were talking about earlier with the 33. Tying us back into our Freemason friends. We can perceive that 2-3 as 2 3s. Okay, so very important. But this Jubilee is important, and I wanted to bring it up tonight and share the importance of it. And why I'm bringing it up is because we're entering the Queen's 70th year since coronation, which is a Jubilee year, and that starts February 6th of 2022. So it's just a few weeks away. And I think that's very important because, again, that 70 connection is tying us back to our variant. Having a numerologic value of 70 in Greek numerology, which is called isopsophy. And when we make that connection with 70 back to psyop, we get that 70 in, the sea virus, as well as Shemitah, the sabbatical and release year in Judaism and Hebrew that we are in. And again, in Shemitah, we get that 38. What else were we just getting that 38 in our previous decode? This new variant, IHU, giving us that same 38. So again, very important. The B.1.640 giving us that same 38. So very important, you guys. We cannot deny this. So again, Shemitah giving us that 38. That's why we're seeing these things, and I utilize this code to prove that to you on a day-to-day basis, time and time again. So very, very important. But again, entering this Jubilee year, the Queen, she's entering her 70th year since coronation. So all these powerful connections around all of this. Not to mention, we noted in our last video at the end that the S&P 500 just topped off another yearly close for the 70th time in the history of the world. So again, just all of these powerful 70 connections on the world stage right now that most people would overlook. So again, very powerful. All tying us back into our psyop though. The C word that didn't go down there. And what we've witnessed for 2 years that's controlled our lives. Again, giving us that 43. What that 43 tied us into? Our new variant, okay, with the 46 mutations that it talked about in this news article that we brought up. So again, very powerful. Coming on 1/5, January 5th. Okay, not a surprise. We understand this. So very important, and just want to continue to make these connections as to why we are continuing to see Bitcoin in a downtrend right now, manipulating and fearing everybody out of the markets. How many Commonwealth realms does the Queen reign over? 15, you guys. So again, very powerful connections. These 15s are powerful every time we have a Shemitah year, and we are still in Shemitah until September of 2022. So about 9 more months to go, you guys. So something I've been talking about since, before September of 2021. So again, one of the only analysts out here preparing you, not financial advice, but to de-risk your portfolios and some of the projects you held entering into the Shemitah year, back in September. Right here, one of the only ones, so very important that we continue to understand this and the unprecedentedness that we are in the world right now. All right. Where do I want to go? One other thing about this day with the 359 was the 72nd prime number, 359, the 6th day of this year. That's tying us straight back into, Bitcoin, giving us that same 72. January 6th, we were continuing to set another low, which matched the low of the previous day. So just continuing to fill up this wick that we wicked down to on December 4th. So again, very important. December 4th being 35 days from today, you guys, which is, sitting here on January 8th giving you this video. So again, that 35 connection we're getting in, you know, everything we talked about earlier. Been out here exposing this new variant since Sagittarius, giving us that same 29 we get in what we shall not name on this channel. But again, so just continuing to make these connections for you all. But today being 35 days since December 4th sell-off. So again, not surprising to see us fill this wick in again. We're on a prison earth, and I go over this, giving us that same 43, tying us into our variant, you guys. Right here, 43. We've gone over this. We're on a prison earth, you know, which is the prison planet. Oh, giving us that same 52. Okay, you know, we know Earth gives us that same 52. So just powerful connections we can continue to make by utilizing the code and understanding how powerful it is. Sometimes less is more, you guys, and I'm out here to try and teach you these things. So very important. But continuing to make these 666-day connection dates since the declared date of the pandemic back in March. You know, a date that gave us 55 in numerology, tying us back into God, Satoshi Nakamoto, Satan, Timekeeper, predestination. Again, that 33, that transmutation number, that 22, that restart, that very powerful Jesuit number that we get. Just powerful connections we make over the simplest things that everybody else in the world overlooks. Remember that. Giving us a date in standard numerology of 13 as we got ready to enter into this previous year that we just passed, 2021, being the 13th year anniversary since Bitcoin's inception, you guys. So again, a date, January 6th, giving us that 29, tying us back into, you know, this 29 right here. Right here. So very important, you guys, that we continue to see how this is playing out day by day by being able to utilize the code and pay attention. Alright. I hope all this is obvious by now. One of the other things that is amazing, the day that we had the huge crash in the market, which was the 72nd day of the year, which again ties us back into Bitcoin and our friends and lizard homeboys, Jesuit order. So back to this date, you know, 1/7 being a very important date, making another 666-day connection. So again, just very important because we know this was a multiple event and crash back in March of 2020 that we shared in our last video. For those who are unaware or new to the channel, please go back and watch the last video that I shared. But very important connections to this 666 time frame that we are making here now. Back to our C word bear flu crash, but this 12th date back in March being the biggest day, which gave us a 38% drop in Bitcoin. That 38 tying us back into again our new variant. Okay, very powerful number, that 38. All right, so undeniable. Sorry, where we at right here? Yep. But this connection again to the 7th. Yesterday. Again, giving us a low before today's lower low, or well matched low of yesterday. You can see today's 40K low was slightly lower than the 40K we saw yesterday on the 7th. So again, very powerful connections right here to these 666 connections. This day I want to talk about again being tied to March 12th of 2020, the reddest day in the market we saw so far. You know, the 8th closed green. We'll talk about that in a minute, but this was the reddest day so far this year in January. So again, the 6-6 connection between that being the connection there with 72nd day of the year, and back in March 2020, tying us back into Bitcoin. This being the 7th day of the year, 7 cycles of 7, is what we're in, the 7th Shemitah, entering into a Jubilee year. So that's 7 again, being very powerful right here. Just important connections that I wanted to make. So, at least this was the Gregorian 7th day of the year, not the, the Hebrew, Jewish day of the year. This is, what we follow in America, the 7th day of the year. So very important. And then the last connection I wanted to recap was the day we saw the orange guy had control over the FEMA on Friday the 13th. A day that closed green in the markets. Very important, connecting us back into the day, being another at our last 666 day connection that we're going to go over. Again, today giving us in standard date numerology when we type it out, giving us that 15, tying us back into, what we've talked about for weeks on this channel. What we're seeing on the world stage is 15. So again, very powerful. Getting, a very indecisive candle so far for Bitcoin daily close on this 8th day, 18, that very powerful number in Judaism. That 18 we get in Shemitah, the Shemitah cycle and year we are in. Okay, the 38 we got in Shemitah. Bitcoin had a 38% fall off in March 12th as we got ready to enter the 2021 year. Okay, the Shemitah year, which started in September of 2021. So very important connections, again, giving us that 18, that the very powerful number in Judaism that we've exposed on this channel going back for months now. So again, we perceive this 3-8, this 8-8-8 or 3-8s. So very important. Want to remind you of that. Or 3 times 8, which is 24, which ties back to, our Jupiter logo, or the mirror of 42, which ties back to Saturn, or, X, which is the 24th logo, letter in the alphabet. So, very important connections that we can continue to make with that 3-8 right there. Just a very powerful number that does tie us back to our latest variant, you guys. So very important to continue to make this connection. Again, this day right here, today from the Shemitah, we've been talking about it being tied to March 2020. If we go back to the Shemitah, the year that we've been talking about, the sabbatical year, it being 4 months, 1 day, that tying us back into the 41 we get in our homeboys, that Skull and Bones, the lizard pals of ours that we talk about. That 41 being the 13th prime number, okay? And we get that 13 when we add 1 plus 8 plus 2 plus 2 up, for the 13-year anniversary of Bitcoin that we're in. All powerful connections, being 123 days since the start of the Shemitah. That 123 tying us back into Ouroboros, life, death, rebirth. Anyways, that 123 that we expose the importance of in the circle of life, decode 1, 2, and 3. We've exposed this 123 powerful number connection. 1, 2, 3, go. So again, just manipulated time frames right here as we entered the most ritualistic time of the year in December, and what's been very manipulated since, and we see that playing out. So important to make these connections right here. And then again today, when we added up 1 plus 8 plus 20 plus 22, we get that 51, the mirror of 15, as above, so below. So important connections, you guys. Yeah. So again, yeah. I think this is the year, by the way, for XRP. XRP, we know, gives us that 15. So again, very powerful connections as we head into the 22nd year of the 21st century and the Jewish Hebrew New Year of 5/7. 8-2, giving us that 22 as well. So important connections that I think this year will be the year for XRP. Just throwing that out there for anybody who was interested in that. Very important. All right. And as we get ready to transition into tomorrow, Sunday, the day of the sun, you guys giving us that 52 when we add it up in numerology, being 4 months, 2 days since the start of the Shemitah, tying us all the way back into Saturn. I'm definitely watching it. That 19, that 1-9 we get is important because it ties us back into the psyop that we've witnessed on the psychological operation on the world stage. C19, again, being very powerful. We know this 16 we get in, well, we get that tomorrow in Shiva, and that's the goddess of destruction. So again, very powerful, I think. Just important that we continue to pay attention to the code. Let's look at, yeah, giving us that 16. And let's, okay. Yeah, just important. Tomorrow giving us that 35 and that 22, you guys. That 71 tomorrow with that 35 that we get in Satan. I can picture that as, you know, that's Azazel, you guys. Oh, I totally spelled that wrong. I had that saved from earlier. I don't think so. Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's Azazel. That's 71. You know, if you haven't done your research on that fallen angel Azazel, you know, some could blame the whole world on you know, being ruined because of this fallen angel. So do your research. I just think a very important connection that we can make to tomorrow as well, being that 1-9 date, tying us all the way back into C19, being the mirror of 19. So again, very important. Azazel. Spelled it with a, y'all still spelling it wrong. I'm sorry. You got to go back and look. Yeah, Azazel giving us that 71. So very important that we make these connections about tomorrow, I think, as well. Sorry about that spelling error. Not very good sometimes. But tomorrow, again, giving us the 9th day of the year, 9 equals completion. You know, the numbers run through 1 through 9, and all 10 is 1 and 0, the binary code. So again, 9 equals completion. So very powerful connections that we can make tomorrow. With that in mind, the following day, the 10th and 11th, I'm really thinking that we may see everything start to transition out of this bearish energy and downtrend that we found ourselves in for, you know, the past 58 days. That 58 is tying us straight back into, you know, puppet master, you guys, remote control, and the tetragrammaton, God, etc., Yahweh. Very important connections. So again, I'll show you that in the price charts in case you know, you don't understand what I'm saying there. Since our 69K top for Bitcoin, if we were to, you know, measure from then to where we are now, we're sitting at 58 days before our lows. It came in yesterday, so very important. Just puppet master connection there. So I'm watching that 66 day. That's going to bring us out to around January 15th. You know, that 115 connection. We get in Lucifer 115. So I'm watching that January 15th. We know January 14th is the start of Mercury in retrograde. So very important. But Lucifer, the light bearer, giving us that 43 connection, that 38, and that 115 that we've been making tonight. So again, very powerful connections to everything, tied to everything we're seeing on the world stage too. So do you think you can deny these connections anymore? Just irrefutable, I think. Very important. But again, this January 10th being that 53 that we get in, you know, our favorite where was it at? Our favorite mark of the beast in transhumanism and virtual realm, where they're going to get you to upload your, you know, consciousness to the cloud using an avatar on the metaverse. All these 53 and 35 connections that we've made. So very important. January 10th just being a date I'm watching out for again, giving us that 110 plus 22, giving us that 33. So very important. Very important day. Plus, we know 11, restart, recycle, new beginnings, as well as that 111 date. Remember, this market, it runs on the sun and the moon, and I've shared this with y'all, giving us that 111, and it operates and is ran on a computer, okay, and we know the computer is the future, and the transhumanist agenda is their goal. We've known that for years, and all of this market, it runs on the New York time zone, Eastern Standard Time Zone. I've shared this, giving us that same 33, by the way. But it's all showing us that ultimately everything influences in this astrology influences everything in this market, and the world, I do believe. So very important, that 111 connection that we're getting as we get ready to transition into January 11th of the 222 year, that 111222 date, giving us 4 months, 4 days since the start of the Shemitah, that 4-4 tying us back into, transhumanism with that 44 and that 53. So, very important connections, you guys. I do think, again, on 1-5, the Fear and Greed Index was at 15, tying us back into our variant as we got that new news of a new variant that also equaled 15 on 1-5. So all these powerful connections that we can't deny on this channel, you guys, as we get ready to transition into tomorrow 1-9, and then pass through these dates we're talking about. So very important, all the way up until the 19th of January. I'm seeing it being a very rocky time for the markets. We'll see what Mercury retrograde brings us on the 14th. Giving us a very powerful connection with that 57 and that 21. Also that day before, giving us exact matching numerology with, March 13th, 2020, the day we saw FEMA gain control from the orange guy, being 1 year, 10 months, that 11, that restart. So very powerful connections, you guys, being the 13th day of the year, Bitcoin in its 13-year anniversary. So just some powerful connections we need to pay attention to as we transition through these days. Definitely some things I'm paying attention to, and I know I'm speaking about a lot of days, but right now I think it's more important to utilize the code more than anything, because we've seen for a month now pattern after pattern break and become invalidated, and we've held more truth and been able to provide more bullish calls, I guess you could say. We've been able to provide better data and outlooks on the market with the code more than anything lately. So very important connections that I wanted to continue to make moving forward. So sorry this video's kind of going heavily in a lot of places, and this way and that way, but definitely want to just make sure that we're utilizing as much of the upcoming time frame in January as we can. Very important month that I would like to continue to just see Bitcoin being pretty boring and sideways and consolidating. Would like to see it find its bottom and just continue to build a basing structure. So a ranging structure. So very important. But yeah, that Mercury retrograde on the 14th is very important, I think. What's that from? Rosh Hashanah 47, yeah, 4 months, 7 days. Start of Mercury retrograde, that 47 being a very powerful number, tying us back to you know, time, infinity, because time is infinite, the tetragrammaton, and the Masonic compass having 47 degrees. Very important connections. So we'll have to see what happens on the 14th, that 114 date, tying us all the way back into our Jacob's ladder and deoxyribonucleic acid, our Vesica Pisces, that 114. Very important. We've made these connections going back for months now with these numbers. So very important. We'll have to see how that transition plays out. Just looking over my notes, want to make sure I've got everything said that I wanted to say. I did say keep an eye on this 36 to 30K, 38K range. I do want to go over that in a technical analysis video that I hope to get out tomorrow night in a weekly red pill analysis video. This is kind of just a brief update on why we're seeing this bearish price action around these 666 day connections. I wanted to touch base on my last video, keep you all understanding to just be patient and don't follow the fear. We need to relinquish all our fears. Definitely don't follow the FOMO that's being portrayed in crypto Twitter or on the world stage right now. Also, I shared this on my timeline. I want to go ahead and share that as well. But it's like, the Matrix 4, it told us the truth. When Neo and Trinity were talking to the analyst, he told them that all of us, the harsh truth, and it's that people love their blue pills, that they will continue to choose this prison world where nothing is real over sovereignty and a free mind. And I want to remind you all to be the change tonight, that's needed for this world as we move into this, this 2022 year that I do believe will give some sort of clarity as to where we're headed moving forward. But what that clarity may be, I still think it's a coin flip. I still think more and more people could, speak out against this corruption that we're witnessing on the world stage. But maybe not everyone has that ability up their throat chakra just yet, and have been able to control that. That is something that is very hard, and it's something you learn how to do each and every day. The humbleness that comes in, the power of knowing what to say and when to say it and how to say things. Because there's a learning curve you can take in everything you do, and speaking spells into the world as you speak to people are very important. I think we learn each and every day if we're truly awake and aware as to how powerful spells, words, definitions, and meanings are. I think it's things that we are not taught. So be the change. You're a chosen one. Don't be normal. I am not. By no means am I normal at all. I belong to an ancient class of enlightened individuals that seek to spread knowledge, gnosis, and wisdom. And with all that being said, you guys, I just wanted to leave y'all with this powerful connection that I always want to make whenever, we bring up this, this, this 5335 connection. And that's, well, and that's become a divergent, you guys. Be a glitch in the matrix with that same 53. Use the code against them, you guys. They want to say in this new article that, they hate you because you're 46 mutating, which means 46 chromosomes. 12 people means 12 cranial nerves. 12, zodiacs. It's all tied in. 12 apostles. You. You know, it's all right there, you guys. They say they hate you because you have 46 chromosomes. Just very important. Become a glitch in the matrix and become a divergent. So with all that being said, you guys, I'm gonna leave this one there. Hope you enjoyed. Be ready for the technical analysis. I really haven't been doing them lately because we've just been in this yucky, boring, gross downtrend, and there's nothing to say about that but the same thing over and over and over again. So until we show confluence of a base formed, there's really nothing more to say. But I will be out to talk about it a little bit tomorrow, hopefully. I'm just waiting for some of these dates to transition and pass through. The code's been showing me a lot, and I think it's pointless to come out here and do technical analysis just to see patterns break and become invalidated. It's a waste of breath, and it causes me to put more than 10% of my energy into crypto, and I just don't. I choose not to do that. So with all that being said, y'all take care and have a blessed night.